When you go about your day, how does it feel? Does it feel like you're moving linearly? By the time you get to dinner, do you remember what breakfast was? And also, even more importantly, when you're making a decision about what to do with your day, are you thinking about it in isolation? Or are you considering all other aspects of your life? In this episode, I'm going to talk about systems thinking and how I've used it at work and how it's also impacted how I think about my life and my day-to-day. Hi, I'm Leah Federhoff, a user experience designer, writer, and life strategist. I want to inspire you to thrive in work and life. As a designer, I think in systems. Whenever I'm building a new feature or updating the design of something that's currently already live, I think about what impact it will have upstream, downstream, and on the page. If I need to add a new section or a button or some form fields, how will it impact the content that's already there? Should I add it to the top, the bottom, merge it with something else because those two things go together? Does collecting new information then impact what a user did before or what a user is going to see after? Does it impact another product that's part of this larger ecosystem? It's kind of like connect the dots. You ever did connect the dots and say you want to insert a new dot somewhere in between? Does it mess up the picture or does it make it flow even better? I like to think about how things are interconnected. I like to make meaning out of something more holistic because sometimes you need to take a step back. You might be solving for the problem in front of you, where in reality there's also 5 different problems it could introduce if you're not aware of it. So that's kind of like how I approach systems thinking, is thinking about how things are connected, how things interplay with one another, and how to improve the experience without hurting other experiences at the same time. So how does this apply to life? There's a tendency when you're thinking about, say, something you have to do at work, it becomes isolated. It becomes the thing that you're doing for work. Same with home life, personal relationships, anything you commit your time to or your energy to. Everything is interconnected. If you commit to something that feels toxic or doesn't light you up or brings you energy, it could hurt other ways that you're not as present with, like family time or figuring out what to eat for dinner. Because you're invested in something that's taking up a lot of your brain space, you start to ignore or become more passive about areas in your life. On the flip side, say you're really aligned and you're passionate and you're in the flow about a certain project, and then you have closure on it, you put it away, you're ready for the next thing, right? Whether that's running some errands or doing, chores at home. That mind shift from having closure, from being present in one thing and bringing it to the other space, you become aware of more things. Maybe you stay in that flow state. All I'm trying to say is, how mindful are you when something happens in your life, or you're bringing something new into your life, or updating something, making a change in your life? How does that impact other things? Sometimes it's easy to see. So a few weeks ago, my kids started school, and there's 2 different pickup times and 2 different drop-off times, and it's just made it so I have to reshuffle my schedule a little. And what's interesting about it is that now becomes a priority, and I feel like with other things in life, I've become more efficient, or I've figured out ways to optimize fitting in their school. So when they're at school, I do a lot of my deep work during that time because I have more time to concentrate, and I feel like I'm even more effective in that way. But of course, once they come home, it gets a little disruptive because they're hungry, they want to have a snack, and the house becomes loud again. For things like that, it's easy to see. But other times, more often than not, we make decisions about things that we put off until tomorrow or intentions we make, but we don't follow through and take action. I know I tend to do this a lot. I sign up for a new app or a class online, and I never actually take the class, or it sits there and I have the intention to do it, but because of everything else that's going on in my life, or for whatever reason, this thing I was fully intended to do falls lower in the priority, I don't do it anymore, right? And I could have just as easily said, no, thanks, I don't have time for you right now. And it's trying to be cognizant of how introducing something new into your life actually means you need to introduce something new into your life in addition to the other things that already exist. So it's kind of like a game of Tetris. Like, how do you fit this into your life? What impacts does it have? It probably means I should say no to other things, spend less time on other things, or clearly I'm not motivated enough to do the thing I initially committed to. So consider that. I mean, that's all it is. It's a musing about how do you go about your life? Do you think about your life as a whole? How do decisions that happen in the morning impact your end of day? How do things that you do now impact future you next week? How do you become more mindful and more aware of when those situations happen so you can nip them in the bud before they completely disrupt something else in your life that you didn't want disrupted? Or maybe you're looking for that disruption. So it's important to be clear about what that is and how much of it you want. I'll share this Medium article on 6 fundamentals of concepts for design thinking. One of them, as I mentioned before, is being disconnected to interconnectedness. And I really love this graphic because it simplifies the benefits of systems thinking. When you think in a system, you're thinking about the pieces or components and how it becomes a new whole, or it has bigger meaning, or it contributes to something bigger, right? That's the system. There's a lot of pieces in there. So play around with it. I think it's interesting to think of life as a system sometimes. And when one thing is dragging your life down, it could bleed into other places. When one thing is really good, I think it attracts more of that affirmative action. It allows you to be more aligned, more fulfilled, and more aware. So those are the things you want to bring into your life, say yes to. And it takes some deep self-reflection, connecting with yourself on what that is. And I'll go over that in my next episode. If you're looking for more resources to thrive in work and life, head over to swishie.com and sign up for my newsletter, where you'll get the latest on new episodes, podcasts, and blogs, and anything else that I share. Also, if you're looking for a community with other like-minded women of color, check out my private Facebook group by searching Swishie. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this, subscribe and share with friends.